I caught myself there. But what I do want to, Bernice, I thank you for joining us. The agenda strategy for today was GLOWs. Those things. This calendar year, of course, you probably run a fiscal year much like most of us, from July to June. But for the calendar year of 2022, were there any? I'm sure there were many, and can you narrow it down to a few? I hope you can. But were there areas where you feel great about, or really strong about, what you were able to accomplish, goals you established for the that time frame, and were able to achieve? So let's start there. If you're comfortable sharing some of those accomplishments, that'd be great. Bernice, you're still on.
Sorry, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
So yes, we my fiscal year does run from September 1st to August 31st. So we, as of yesterday, closed our first quarter.
Okay.
So for the most part, I'm just trying to think about goals that we. Well, I don't know how everybody else feels, but our goal for the first quarter was just to be fully staffed, and it's still an ongoing battle. We're a lot closer than we have been in the last 2 years. So I think we're maybe just about 2 hires from being fully staffed at this point. So that in and of itself is an achievement on our end. Our sales goals themselves our pre-need is a lot higher than it normally would be for this time frame, but our ad need is surprisingly low compared to our historical numbers. I don't know if that's if anyone else has noticed that trend. Is that one of those you were referring to, or were you asking for something specific?
You could talk about anything that you do. I mean, relative to numbers, whether it's numbers, whether it's staffing, whether it's training, whatever. Again, this is an open forum for like a roundtable discussion. Well, first of all, congratulations on hitting staffing goals. That has been one of the challenges that I know when I say we have experienced this, well, actually since the pandemic started raging, we've had challenges with recruiting. As far as and I have that as a goal for next year. At need, are you talking? Well, I guess we break at need down like we do pre-need. We break it down into units and revenue. So we establish goals in both categories. So our at-need business in Los Angeles is down 18% over last fiscal. Okay, same time. So from July 1 to at the end of November, we closed our books out yesterday. We're still closing them now, not done yet, but we are 18% behind in at-need interments. What's interesting though, our average sale is higher, and our pre-need numbers are up 4% over last fiscal year at the same time. So the correlation isn't quite the same, and we didn't budget that way. We budgeted for a little bit of a downturn in the at-need side of our business, but we did kind of budget consistent for our pre-planning, and I'll get to that in just a second. So we are experiencing a little different trend, but we budgeted for our at-need business to be down relative to last year, but we did not budget to be pre-pandemic numbers. We still are not. We're still higher this year than we were 19 before the pandemic broke. So just to give you a little bit of relative comparison. So,
yeah. Hey, Doug, the point you just touched on, our pacing is very similar, and a little bit odd because we're, pre-need up so much, but the at-need stuff has been soft. Bernice, going back to your question, I'll tell you, so we're fiscal starting July, and in 3 of the first 4 months of the new year, our at-need business has been softer than what we projected. And obviously we projected it far down from COVID days, using pre-COVID as the benchmark. We had one spike month. It looks like we're finally starting to pick up as weather is starting to kick in a little bit up here. But for the most part, it's been slow go. And to echo what Doug said, the one saving grace inside that has been that the average cost of purchase, or the average purchase, I should say, is up significantly.
Yeah.
And that's really good to see.
Yeah.
We sort of have this, what I call a tale of two cities for October and November. In October, we do our annual open house events. And we set an all-time revenue record for us. We had more pre-need sales than we've ever had before, which was great. I will tell you that at a certain level, it burned a bunch of our people out. The good news for them is they all got really big commission checks. The bad news is I had everybody wanting to use vacation, sick time in November. And November was one of the lowest months that we've had in the almost 7 years I've been here. And then, going back to the other part that both Doug, you and you, Bernice, touched on, staffing is an ongoing challenge. Part of it is we're gearing up to open a new funeral center in January or February, and trying to get people in for all these positions it's a bear.
Yeah. Well said, Jerry. As you were speaking, it reminded me of a couple other thoughts. One of the challenges, knowing that recruiting is an ongoing issue, and without getting too in the weeds as to why, the whys and hows, the whys, I will give you some hows. One of the things we have known and we've tried to do is create an internal bench strength. So like a training to raise people within the organizational levels up and have them prepared to take the next step if there is a promotion available or someone leaves or retires. One of the glows that we have, that I was prepared to talk about today, was that we've replaced in-house, we've replaced 3 different managers, and they had to interview. I mean, there was some outside options, but the best option we felt was, to be able to move them internally. Knowing the challenges, we found out that it's going to be easier, and this is something you might want to think about and talk to your HR team about. Also get your other managers, is knowing that those higher level opportunities to recruit from the outside are going to be more challenging. So if you can promote from within to a manager level position or a assistant manager position, promote from within, and then meet more of the entry level options, those seem to be, for us, at least in our demographic, in our market, we have the ability to seem to hire the more the entry level or lower paying positions, as opposed to the mid-level manager or the executive. We go outside, we use recruiters, but for that, but the mid-level manager or assistant manager, and that's been our strategy since we've been having recruiting challenges. To say that we replaced 3 internally this since this fiscal year started. So that's a strategy and if you want to talk more about that, I'll do that with you, but that's something that we did, and it's starting to show benefit. And when you have someone who's internal, who's been with us a number of years and has a desire to want to excel to a next level, they already understand our faith, right? They understand our strategy, our philosophy. They know procedures and process. They know what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And there's an automatic, I don't want to use the word automatic respect. I shouldn't say that. You have to earn respect, but there's an understanding that this individual comes from within the archdiocese, is a person of faith, believes in the strategy and the ministry. And so it allows them to move into that role, and people know who they are, and there's a familiarity, if that makes any sense to you. So that's a strategy we really are working on very hard to promote from within and then recruit underneath in those entry-level positions. So again,
Doug, we're doing something pretty Doug, we're doing something pretty similar. We've seen that when we're going outside, typically the salary that we have, it isn't enough to move people from their existing positions. And being a nonprofit, I don't think that's a great surprise. But these mid-level manager positions are a hard fill. And we've worked hard to really try and cross-train people to let them build their skill set and hopefully become ready to step up as managers. We've done pretty well with that. And the other thing we've done is we also swung back at some people who have left us. And, there's always the allure of more money. I'd like to think that our culture is strong enough and we work with families enough, meaning staff families, that it's a good environment. So if you have, kids, elderly parents, that kind of stuff, we tend to be pretty flexible. And a lot of places aren't that way. And, people will make that trade-off if, you have the right environment. And I'm not saying we always do, because Lord knows we have plenty of internal stuff that goes on. But if you can convince somebody that it is the extra $500 a month that you've gotten, or $1,000 a month that you've gotten worth, that you're now down to 2 weeks, and when they say you're in 8:30 to 4:30, they don't let you go see your kids play at school.
Right. Great point. Culture, creating that culture. You can't put a dollar figure on that, and you're right. We all have holes in our operation from a culture fit perspective, but understanding that culture and knowing it and then embracing it, it is a value added proposition. It adds value to your position. It's not equivalent. Is it equivalent to $1,000 a month? We don't know what that number is, but they have to make that determination. So these are things that we're trying to do. These are things that we're trying to do, and great point. So you're making, Jerry. You have to be creative. Something else that we're looking to do is, we're outsourcing certain things. We got to be careful who we do business with and who we contract with, especially if they're going to be on our property, right, from a liability standpoint. But also, again, blending of cultures, understanding our strategy, what our ministry is all about. Who were you meeting? Who's our patron? Sometimes when you have a third party come on, whether it's mowing or road work or tree work, whatever the case may be, do they understand who the client is, right? Our staff should, but when we're outsourcing, do they understand? So that's another challenge we have. But again, we try to do those. We try to outsource in areas that aren't high level responsibilities, mowing, tree trimming, things like this, so we can focus on the patron satisfaction portion of our ministry. So these are other areas that we've found that have supported what we're trying to do from a recruiting standpoint. So you fill in areas where you fill in those areas, Bernice. So that does give some things that, yeah.
Doug, one of the other things that we've done is when we've had these entry-level or part-time positions, we've actually gone to the parishes that surround that cemetery, and we've spoken to their admin, to their business manager, to the pastor, and say, hey, if you have parishioners that you think could be a good employee, that you think could be a fit, and for things like groundsmen, for things like reception, for some clerical positions, they've been able to help us a fair amount.
Great point. Something I did on that same line, Jerry and Bernice, was there's a council of priests that meet every quarter, and I answered to the vicar, who answers to the archbishop. So I asked the vicar if I could kindly address this group, and kind of bridge that gap of communication and awareness. Communication is pastoral values that Archbishop Gomez has laid before all of us. And I said, as a means to bridge that gap of communication, because we have 276 parishes within the archdiocese, so we have a lot of pastors, right? And not in a lot of those areas, we don't have cemeteries or mortuaries close to where those parishes are. So we're trying to get those referrals to come to us, right? So I met with this council of priests, and I did the exact same thing, Jerry. We put out information relative to recruiting. I know that there's got to be people in your parish who may be challenged looking for opportunities to be for employment. If they come to you for advice, number one, there's an opportunity for them to be employed. Number two, if a death occurs, that referral works the same way, right? We want to refer them into the cemetery. So if you have that opportunity, Bernice, I don't know if you do, or I don't know who you answer to, but if you can get yourself in front of the priest council or a group of pastors, influencers, right? You're trying to influence them to see the value of what you're doing. It has something we're doing that has been pretty effective. So,
Doug, we've also asked them to put it into the bulletin. A lot of times the individual parishes are struggling to fill their bulletin with content, and to say that there's a job opportunity, and in many ways it becomes an endorsement from the pastor if he's putting it in his bulletin. So it's gotten us some good traction.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not familiar.
If I could,
go ahead.
I'm going to switch gears a little. So do you want to finish on that, or are you going to switch gears?
The only thing I was going to say is the last thing you may. I'm not sure if you were on, Bernice, when Brian, our community outreach director, was speaking. I don't know if you were on that call, but one of the things that he does with his team after masses, he'll invite people to come and know a little bit about who we are. We also had flyers for recruiting, to come. If you come, so not only hear a little bit about pre-planning, but also the value of possibly getting a business opportunity. And we also had HR come and sit in on one of those community outreach meetings. So HR actually were there too. So it wasn't just like a recruiting. It wasn't just like a sales pitch to, it was an opportunity also to get information about the career opportunity as well. So it was more of a softer sell. And that was very effective. That's been very effective with us. Go ahead, Jerry. That's what I wanted to share on that. So,
that was great. The other thing that I wanted to add is, and this may be more just us, but in SAC, one of our requirements is to hire Catholic, and that has posed as a challenge. And if it's a tie, I mean, it's certainly going to go to someone who is of the faith versus not. So we've actually gotten HR to loosen that restriction, particularly for non-customer facing positions. And it's worked. So we had been really limited in the number of outlets that we could use to recruit, and expanding the opportunities has really helped. For us, LinkedIn has worked for really executive stuff, higher end stuff. Indeed has really worked for a lot of the entry and sort of first, second year positions. And this might sound crazy, but even some of the really ground things like Angie and those kind of things have worked for groundsmen, receptionists, those kind of positions. The downside is the volume you get when we send them our sort of application and questionnaire about whether they're Catholic or not. It scares many of them away. That they assume that, oh, I'm not Catholic, I can never get this job then. And we have to be more aggressive in terms of following up with a resume that we see that we like, to make sure that we're calling that person and encouraging them to fill it out, to participate, so we can then interview.
Great comments here, Jerry. I would say the lion's share of our staff certainly would be Catholic. We found that out when we had a mass for all for Catholic cemeteries and mortuaries employees, so that some didn't want to attend because they weren't Catholic, which is fine. But it's interesting. Yes, you're right. We think of ourselves as exclusively a Catholic organization, but to be creative and go outside in those areas makes a lot of sense, Jerry. So kudos. That's a great idea. Yeah,
Jerry, that's interesting comment. I was actually going to ask about that. What when I don't know if it's just your diocese or others, but when you say Catholic, I mean, I guess Catholic is Catholic. I understand that, but is there when someone lists like that they're Lutheran or something like that, I guess, is there like literally a box they check when they fill that out? I'm just curious.
Jimmy, you know this from personal experience, right? So, the young lady you refer to us, not really Catholic, right? But she was certainly somebody that we were very interested in hiring. So Catholic is, have you been baptized Catholic? Starts there, right?
Right.
Then it becomes to, are you practicing? Because we know that many Catholics are disconnected from the church. Our general mantra is 30% of Catholics, and gosh, it might be even more than that now, are not connected when you look at, attendance at parishes. So the question for us is, how do you reach those 70, 75%, whatever that number is? So, when someone is Lutheran, they're Christian, they're not Catholic. So I would define it that way. But, we've hired plenty of people who are not Catholic. We have to show that we've done our due diligence to try and recruit the best people that we can. That if we've had Catholic candidates, that we've vetted and worked them, and in part it slows us down in the process. I'm sure your friend said to you, "God, these guys move slow," and it's not intentionally. But it's because of the steps we need to take internally. So for us to hire someone that is not Catholic, technically, I have to have a sign off from corporate HR.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of curious because even just general feedback, I definitely can understand the reason why you'd want someone Catholic. That even outside of her, I guess mainly because I'm in this particular region with you. Many people actually ask me all the time about jobs in the area and cemeteries, and I refer them to look at your guys' site and look into the Catholic diocese. So I guess I might be one of your recruiting sources as well. You just don't know it.
No,
but
no, I appreciate that.
but here's the thing though. Maybe it's good feedback. And maybe I should have followed up with you much sooner, because it happens quite often. I feel like I'm referring people that look at online for the opportunities. I might not necessarily send them directly to you, but a lot of times that they come back and say, "Oh, it says on there that you have to be Catholic." Now I know that
that's the application questionnaire that I was talking about. So
yeah,
it does read that way.
Yeah,
ours read Catholics preferred. It doesn't say, you have to be Catholic.
Ours is similar. Even in the handbook, it says, are you a practicing Catholic? And it defines what a practicing Catholic, but by definition should be. Yeah. In the handbook. Yeah.
So I got cut off there for a second. I think my video, or I think incoming call, maybe that's what it was. But anyways, I just think, I think the Catholic preferred. Again, Jerry, I haven't looked directly myself, but I'm kind of curious what Sacramento reads, if it's implied, because I think from what I've heard on some cases, they don't go any further or inquire further. Now, shame on them. They should, but they think that's like a hard stop, and they don't continue.
Yeah, and Jimmy, we know that that's one of our soft spots because it does read that way. But the irony is, Ben, who's our CFO, is not Catholic. When Svea was interviewing with Elise Marie, our director of funeral service, not Catholic. So we do get plenty of exceptions, but it's not something that I can really go out and tout that, hey, we're hiring non-Catholics. Because if you were to ask, I think, Bishop Soto, he would tell you, I want to hire Catholics. We're a Catholic organization. That's what he wants us to do. Right. And we make every effort to do that, to live up to that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and the irony is a bunch of the people that we hire that are not Catholic are, in their own right, more religious than some of the people that we hire who are Catholic. that essentially check the box that, yes, I've been baptized, yes, I've had communion and confirmation, and who knows whether they go to church or not. what they practice.
Right. Okay. I was curious. I'll keep sending them.
Any other
Please do.
I wanted to pause real quick because I see someone new that just joined us, Pat Lynch from Tucson. So I didn't know if you wanted to introduce yourself, Pat, since you're a new member of our roundtable here.
Hi, well, first of all, I am a practicing Catholic. So just want to go on record. I've been listening. No, it's a real blessing. Yeah, I'm on day 18, but who's counting? I am here for Tucson Catholic cemeteries. I have a total, thank you. I have a total experience of 18 days with Catholic cemeteries. And I just finished writing my first contract. That's why I was late in our brand new system that, guess what? We just went live 2 hours and 7 minutes ago with Plotbox. So I have just a little bit going on right now, but I am so happy to meet you all. You know, Thomas Merton said no man's an island, but I'm feeling that a little bit, but not right now.
Well, Pat, congratulations and welcome as well. Yeah, we'll look forward to you're hearing about your successes in the upcoming meetings for sure. And we'll hope.
How about the fires I'm putting out? So, yeah. I'm on my first day here. I wish I could be making this up. On my first day, I'm sitting in this lovely office that's been renovated. And I think I was here 2 hours and they said, hey, we called 911. There's a fire at the front gate. So and nobody knew how to use the fire extinguisher. So I figured out the fire extinguisher. I put the fire out, but then it came back. And so I took a picture and I texted it to the bishop, who I report directly to. And I said, really? On my first day, I'm already putting out fires.
Boom, boom. Yeah. Well, it's all downhill from there, right? So you've had your indoctrination, I guess. So just to give you a little history here, Pat, about our organization and these roundtables is the thinking is that we're never alone, right? We're in this together. You know, we're going through a lot of the same similar things. I haven't had to put a fire out personally myself, but we do have here in California. We certainly do have a lot of wildfires. Thankfully, nothing has really approached any of the cemeteries, but yeah, we are prepared. We have a strategy and a protocol for that, by the way. These monthly roundtables are designed to be an opportunity to share best practices, strategies that have been effective, that haven't. What are some of the ongoing challenges you're up against, and maybe get some creative ideas from folks who are just trying to figure it out as well. You know, whether you're here 18 days or 18 years, every day is different and every challenge may be different. So, we all, being Catholics, right? We're obviously and to share, and it's not just about us being in service, right? So the idea is to leave this meeting better than we entered it, and hopefully that you can, that'll be the case with you and your collaboration with us. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. If you could, just so I know who everybody is, could you just introduce yourself and let me know your role and where you're located? I'd really appreciate that.
Sure. I'm Doug Ferrugia. I'm here in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. I'm the Chief Operating Officer by title and responsibility.
I guess I'll go next. My name is Jerry Delcourt. I'm President and CEO for Catholic Funeral and Cemetery Services of the Diocese of Sacramento. I've been in my role coming up on 7 years.
Great, thanks.
I'm Bernice Rosillo. I'm Director of Cemeteries for the Diocese of Monterey. So I oversee the Catholic cemeteries pretty much between Doug and Jerry. So the middle section there.
Right.
Yeah, and I've
So
been in
Berenice,
there for years.
where's the chancery? Is it actually in Monterey?
I believe so. Are you looking specifically for somebody?
No, well, no, yeah, yeah, that's another story. No, but Ashlyn from Plotbox is here. As you can imagine, we're kicking it off going, and she mentioned Monterey because I'm trying to find a Catholic diocese similar in size.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
But yeah, it's here. It's about 3 buildings over. So tell Ashlyn I said hi. I believe I'm going to be seeing her within a week or so.
Okay, great.
Hi, I guess my name's Jimmy Pinocchio. I'm actually the president of Cemetery 360. We're a vendor that offers various software solutions for a number of the Catholic dioceses. I'm actually, as well, currently sit on the board for Catholic Cemeteries and Funeral Homes of the West. So I look forward to possibly seeing you in January. And
yeah, I'll be there. Great to meet you, Jimmy.
Excellent.
My name's Heather Pace. I'm sure you've seen my emails. So I'm the executive director for CCFW, and I'm the one that sends out all the information. And I can be a resource for any questions you have. If I don't know the answer, I can pass it along to someone who does. So please definitely send out anything if you have anything. And also, I am located in Arizona, so I'm just up in. Well, right now I'm in Flagstaff, but I usually am in Gilbert area. So,
right, yeah, I'll be filling your inbox, Heather.
Oh, good.
No, I really will. So be ready.
No, I truly, and between the CCFW and then I also run the state organization for funeral homes and cemeteries. So I can definitely be a resource for you.
Love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think that's everybody on the call right now.
I think there's one or two
Corey. Corey, can you hear us? Are you?
Yeah, I can. I'm mostly listening and enjoying the conversation. So yeah, I'm Corey. I'm the director of operations for Catholic Funeral Cemetery Services in Diocese of Sacramento, and I've been in my role for about 18 months now.
Great, nice to meet you, Corey.
And Corey is also a transplanted Phoenician.
Yes, very much so.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. So we've, Jimmy, is there anything you wanted to share relative to leadership challenges you had or things you've accomplished leadership-wise? I know I don't want to just limit this to the cemetery and mortuary. We can all benefit from. We'd love to hear from you.
Sure. I didn't have anything written down exactly, but we've, in general, we've been in business since 2015, 16, in that range. All of our software solutions really are mostly focused to how you can connect with families online. How can we offer software solutions B2B for various cemeteries to really connect with their families in a different way. Now, obviously, we know 2019 and 20, the big shift with how we're connecting with families as an industry as a whole. So that's definitely been a challenge. For us, we've had several hundred cemeteries that we almost had to retrain right over this last year and a half, and we had to learn too. Some of our software tools have had to been adapted and implemented slightly differently too to help the industry. So for us, I guess some level of patting the company on the back, because there's been a lot of hard work. A lot of our implementations required travel, so we had to really think about new ways of how we can get around the country safely. implement some procedures around that, and learn quite a few here as well with what you guys are just doing there at the diocese as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, I personally would like to thank most folks on this call, as well as a greater audience of the Catholic community around the country, is we work with probably close to 20 different dioceses, really have embraced how to connect with today's customer or family. And it's really, I'd like to say what I've learned, especially over this last year, there's no question a hybrid moving forward isn't going away. I think there was a panic, kind of by need at first with the pandemic of almost 100% of it was, how do we do this online? But in all reality, even though our tools are mostly focused online, we really have found that it's really more of a hybrid. You still have to work with families in a lot of cases. It's just more about tooling up with being prepared to work with those families in different ways. And you might not know that until the family reaches out to you, meaning they may say, hey, we're not available to come in. Can we have a video call to handle this? Right. And then having those tools available on the fly to be able, absolutely, we'll schedule that call. We have some virtual tools to show you properties and so on. So I would say those have been some of our major accomplishments, and we're still working on it. We still have a lot of work to do. And I think the industry has, quite frankly, a lot of work to do. I think we fast forward, in my opinion, I don't know. Definitely a couple decades, at least several decades forward. So I would just keep encouraging everyone to kind of think about, just because the peak of, call it the pandemic, I wouldn't say, I guess you could say is past. There's still issues out there. But moving forward, I challenge everyone to just kind of think about having that hybrid approach and always being prepared to serve a family, whether that's, in your arms at the office or over a video call.
Well said. What I was thinking, I don't know if anybody else is having this experience with some folks in their leadership areas, especially who are not in cemetery mortuary world, whereas they want to go back. They think that we have to go back now to where it was before. I think we all realize, and this is a big challenge I've had, is meeting people where they're at. But we did that during the pandemic, and now we go back to the way things were. There was, in my vision, we can't just say we have to go back to things where they were before the pandemic. The hybrid thing is here to stay. You're right. We learn, we use these effectively, whether it's virtual meetings, whether it's virtual consultations with patrons, whether it's whatever the case may be. I think, and I've made this clear, even to the vicar and to the archbishop, that whereas we would like nothing more to fill the seats back into the church and put everybody back the way they were, we have to embrace this culture, these generations where they're at. And if we miss we saw what we're capable of doing and we pivoted so quickly. If we miss the opportunity and force ourselves into that pre-pandemic thinking again, operationally, and doing everything the same way, we're going to miss out on a bigger opportunity. So well said, Jim. I'm glad you brought that up, because that has been a little bit of a challenge I've had with some of our priests and pastors, to see that we're not going backwards. We're taking the information and moving forward. Has that been a challenge for anybody else?
Yeah, I think we've all had that challenge. I don't know so much, and actually I'm curious to ask you, Doug. During the peak of the pandemic, we moved everybody's shifts around, so we didn't have as many staff members in the office at the same time. So for part of the day, a lot of them would hybrid in the form that they would come to the office or work from home. The biggest challenge for me was convincing everybody that they do have to come back to the office.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
we have adjusted some individuals. If your role does not have you obviously prepping the ground or meeting with families, if you're just finance, things like that, we have allowed some of them to remain at home, which I think they're very grateful for.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, at least unless the family is requesting a virtual conference, it really you do have to be on site. So that's only been the only challenge is that, and I'm going to say the different generations throughout our staff, which I think I fall more on the newer side. They're the ones giving us more of the challenge of just who refused to come back into the office at one point, and we had to get very strict with them. But if it's within our availability, we do give them a lot of flexibility when it comes to, okay, the rest of your day is just calls, go ahead and work from home, things like that. That was just, I think, our biggest challenge, coming back to not the norm, but the new hybrid.
Right. Great comments. And I know we're up against the clock. I'm going to give you just a quick commentary back. What you did from a protocol standpoint to keep your employees safe would be a big part of that. The sanitizing, the masks, the hand, all those things that we safe, social distancing, only patrons, all those things we did during the pandemic to keep your patrons safe and your employees safe. We still kept in practice. We were a little bit more strict than what was given to us by state government and local ordinances. So that, and then the communication part, Bernice, was very important. We would like nothing more for everybody to be able to have this hybrid or work from home schedule. However, your role is patron facing. I think you can certainly appreciate that, as much as you'd like to be able to stay home and have that ability. In the role that you're currently in, the organization needs you here X amount of days. When you're not patron facing, or you certainly can have the ability to have work from home, you can do that as well. So it's communication about the role and supporting that and giving them all the tools, but it's also the safety component. Do they feel that do they have an environment, right, at that workstation that they are safe? And that was a big morale boost for us when we, we had the safety coordinator come through and make sure that everything was in compliance and it was communicated. So you're right, Bernice. So even now, we're getting a little lazy, we're getting a little laxed, right? Well, guess what? The pandemic the flu is really bad right now, and the pandemic is starting to rage up because we're in the major holidays. People get together, they take their masks off, and they embrace, and so on and so forth. So, a great point. It's about communication and allowing that to happen, and they respect that and they value that. So, good point. We have 6 minutes left. I do want to leave. Messaging for the event, which is coming up in just 6-7 short weeks. So it's we're right there. This is the last roundtable before the conference. So Heather, if you could kindly fill in some gaps for any questions, or just let us know where we stand. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. I think actually most of the people that are on this call are registered already. So thank you for that. You got in before that deadline. We are getting everything kind of finalized. So I think it's going to be a really great event. If you guys have any questions for me, or if there's anything I can do to help make this event more positive experience for you, definitely reach out to me. And if you have any colleagues that that are from other dioceses, I know Pat, you're new, so you probably don't know any of the other dioceses yet, but please invite them. We'd love to see some new faces in the crowd, and really just be able to share what this group is about, which is really, it's really just about have this close knit, very direct conversations about what our organizations are going through. So that's what I think stands us apart from the other events that are in the Catholic cemeteries world. So yeah.
Most of us were at Triple C just in September. A wonderful event. it was very well attended, and there was a lot of good content. We're a little more intimate as a group, a little more friendly. I think, no, I shouldn't say friendly, a little bit more collaborative, I think is a better way to put it.
Yes.
The way we interact with each other and our vendors, I think is allows for that. So there's value. I mean, in both, if you're there with an open mind and you have the ability to want to grow and learn and to pull something positive, you'll find it in either type of event. I like the idea of having something small and more intimate. You have the ability to it's not so overwhelming. It's not so, do you have the opportunity to meet with everybody you need to meet with in a relaxed and comfortable environment? So I'm looking forward to that. For those of you who aren't familiar with the players who's going to be there, George Owens and his team from SoCal, the SoCal Approach, is going to be one of our guest speakers. They'll be talking about the guide to the 21st century consumer and 5 ways Catholic consumers is different. So that'll be part of our segment for the training sessions. Someone I'm very, very close and near and dear to my heart, who I work with, and she challenges me every day, is Paula Rathgaber Gomez. She's our director of sales. She'll be talking about, is your sales team in the right relationship? She's quite a dynamic individual. I think you'll benefit tremendously from her. And then Father Richard Rutherford will be talking about revitalizing your ministry. So those are our 3 keynotes. We'll also have more of a roundtable type discussion like this, I think. Am I correct, Heather? That's going to be part of our agenda as well.
Yeah, on the first day, we have a roundtable discussion. We've kind of been going back and forth on what the topic's going to be, but we might just keep it open at this point, similar to like how we did today, and just let people ask questions. And especially since it feels like we'll have a lot of new people there, so I think that will be a good source for them. And then we were going to do a roundtable on, well, it's going to probably end up being more of a presentation with a follow-up of question and answer roundtable discussion on reaching different cultures in our ministry. So that will be led by Father Christopher Smith, who is with the Diocese of Orange and is actually at the Christ Cathedral. So he'll be leading that conversation, and then also doing our tour on that Wednesday. So we are excited to have him.
So yeah, we have some beautiful, as she mentioned, quite nice and picturesque. Certainly, you'll see that. We have some other wonderful events. Mass. We wait to. I think you're all going to be very impressed. It's kind of, I hate the word impressed, but kind of breathtaking. But Chapel in the Sky. Is it Chapel in the Sky? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. So okay. Monica has joined us.
Good morning.
Good morning. We had a
right at 9:30.
Yeah, we had a situation where the time change. I think the time change threw some of us off. So we've been on since 8:30 PC Pacific time.
So Monica thinks she was a minute early. She's actually an hour late.
Yeah, 59 minutes late. Yeah. So you get to lead the discussion. You get the next hour's discussion.
I can talk to myself.
Right. Well, so thank you all for attending, certainly, and being part of CCFW's growth and collaboration. So Heather, I don't know if you feel strongly, maybe we should just wait a few more minutes, you and I, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but
yeah, I can hang out. I mean, I'm just multitasking anyway, answering emails and listening to this conversation. So I can definitely hang on for as long as we need to. If anybody needs to jump off, definitely you've been on for an hour. Monica, if you want to share your glows and grows since you're here, but feel for anybody that needs to jump off, definitely feel free. Yeah.
So yes.
I'm going to jump off. Good seeing everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Bernice. It was good seeing you.
I'm out.
Merry
Bye,
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry
You got it.
Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. I heard that you're saying bye, Jerry. Okay. Bye, Jerry.
Bye, Jared. I see Pat stayed on. Jimmy, if you want to, I mean, so Monica, well, some of the things we were talking about were, again, the grows and glows for the calendar year of 2022, the grows, and then some of those areas that we feel strongly we'd like to improve in the coming calendar year. I know you probably run a fiscal calendar similar to most of us in the dicey stuff.
Yeah, and Pat is new to the group. He's only been on the job for, did you say 18 days? So
18 days.
Wow, very
so
new.
if you want to introduce where you're from too, Monica, so he can kind of put names and faces together.
Great. Hi, good morning, Pat. I am the Director of Cemeteries for the Archdiocese of San Francisco. Born and raised in the city and happy to be serving here. Have been in this position for 11 years, have been in cemetery or funeral service for 30 something, several, lots, 29, 30, somewhere there. So welcome. Look forward to getting to know you and meeting you. And if there is ever anything that you need or want to run by anybody up here, please feel free.
Thank you, Monica. It's great to meet you. Do you have a fire extinguisher I could use?
All of ours are currently in use at the moment.
Yeah, okay. There's a running joke about that. Fill you in later. It is great to meet you. And Monica, what's your role again at the Archdiocese?
Director of Catholic Cemeteries.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I definitely will be reaching out to you.
Good. And where are you, Pat?
I'm in Tucson.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Yes, fire extinguishers. Okay, we'll send them.
All right, it's all good.
Yes, please, anything we can do. It's a good group. It's a good group to lean on.
Little shy about her experience. Monica's been past president for a number of years on the CCFW. She's been a fixture, right? And so someone we've all been able to share best practices with, and also, hey, Monica, I mean, what would you do in this situation? Hey, have you ever had this ever happen? And she's always been there for all of us, and I want to let everybody know that I value her collaboration and her. I just called her the other day on something, and she got back to me right away. So it's one of the things that when you are in executive leadership and you find yourself surrounded by people who report directly to you, and you maybe not have somebody who's a cemetery or mortuary business mind who you answer to. I say that as humble as I can, but there's times where you need to bounce some ideas off people who are in a similar role, but may also had a similar experience. And I answer to a priest, and Father Brian is an amazing vicar, but he's not a cemeterian. He's not a mortuary manager. So it's when I have a challenge that I need to go either up with or sideways with, it's nice to have this group to bounce ideas off of, and it's a really comfortable feeling to know that this organization exists, and this group is this, I believe, is as tight as I've been on a few boards, I've been on a few councils, and I consider everybody friends in my way of thinking. So I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but I just want to that's the kind of environment, Pat, that we try to create here, and that's what I came home 3.5 years ago, and I got into the situation, and I wasn't sure, and I can tell you it was probably one of the best business decisions I've made in my career. So with that, I don't want to sell it too strong here, Pat, but I'm just letting you know that we're all part of something that's bigger than us, and if you feel like you're not sure, you're uncomfortable, feel free. I just sent you my email. I hope that you had a chance to get it. And yeah, send me a note. We'll be happy. I'll be happy to get a call with you as well. So, but all right. So Monica, I know one of the challenges we're all having, we talked a lot about recruiting. We talked a lot about replacement. We talked immensely about that. Was there anything specific that you feel great or good or happy with, a new strategy you implemented, or a technique that you tried, or a little tweak on something that was an oldie but a goodie that has helped expand your success within this past fiscal year?
You know, I think took a fresh look at training and cycling through different subjects each month at our meetings. I think that was good. I think we take for granted, especially those of us who have been around for a long time, that everybody should know this stuff because we do it every day. But in fact, you can go months without a particular situation, or even, you know, for the case of some new folks, years without seeing a particular situation. So that was I think a good thing for us to do, to look at training with some fresh eyes, and not, you know, full day seminars, but just a topic a month and do a refresh. So that was something that's good. And looking forward to next year, one of the things we're going to try to do, which will put a new spin on outreach. Our archdiocese has a relationship with Flocknote. You know, I think during the pandemic, a lot of parishes started using that. They've offered us use of Flocknote at no charge to us, which is fantastic.
Even better, yes.
So we're going to try that. We're going to try using their platform to do some emails and texting with families. The Archdiocese fairly recently shut down their biweekly newspaper, which was a primary source for our communicating with people in the pews. So we're going to give that a shot. We're really kind of excited about adventures in a new platform. So
exciting. That's interesting. You know, something that popped into my head when you were sharing some of your a fresh look. You said I liked how you phrased that, a fresh look. Sometimes we all get into these routines, right? And we're comfortable. We're all in any aspect. We all have things like that we can talk to, but in our business and our professional life, that is no different. We did the exact same thing, a fresh look. I challenged our executive team to look at enhancing our training. The training component, it's a great idea, in three areas. The first one was industry-related training. You know, let's look. Even though we're a faith-based organization, we are competing in real world business, right? So that's something we have to keep in mind. As much as we have this, we're on top of that, but we are competing with those people who are just that, they're for profit. So we have to constantly remind ourselves we need training in our industry. That's something we were able to do. We brought an outside trainer in, which was very helpful. So there's a three-pronged approach we took this year: industry specific training, HR specific training. That is something, we have mandatory harassment training every 2 years, but I'm talking about ER, employee relations training, right? I'm talking about things deeper than the harassment stuff. So we partner with our HR team, and we even got some information from the outside, a few consultants, and brought it in. And we're going to have a HR related training for all employees. And then the final piece of this was our space within our faith, right? What is our faith-based training relative to our ministry within the operation? So that's a deep discussion. So we're partnering with the Vicar of Clergy's office, and not just the liturgical practices. Well, I think we all have areas that we've worked very hard on making sure liturgically we have all the things in the right areas for when our priests. I'm talking about a deeper dive into our role as a faith-based organization with not only with our patrons, but with each other, right? How do we stay true to our faith within our business, not only to our patron, but to our coworkers? And that is something that was embraced by the vicar's office, and we're designing a training around that area. So three-pronged approach. For this year, we got the first one done. We got HR coming in February, and then our faith-based training is going to be in our last quarter of the year. So
Nice.
thank you for reminding me of that, Monica.
It's a compliment. I'll take it.
Yeah. So sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day that, and hitting the numbers, and we just ended the month. Everybody's right. Today's December 1st. How did November finish, right? So we're all looking. Hopefully, we all hit our numbers, right? But those are important things, absolutely. But are we in the right space? Are we in the right place? Do we have the right culture to evolve as an organization of faith within a competitive industry? So it's a much deeper dynamic that we have to consider, and as leaders, we're responsible for making sure that culture fit is there, and so it's just something else to think about.
That's a really important component, and I'm looking forward to. I know Paul is probably going to touch a little bit on that
Yes.
when we get together in January. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that, and bringing it back here as well. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay. So Heather, it's 9:42. So maybe we thought we were going to have a big push at 9:30, but okay.
No, actually,
it's just me in my own time zone.
Yeah.
I went through the list, and I think there was only a couple people that didn't jump on.
Okay.
So that was Tara from Aftercare. And I assume if she hasn't jumped on by now, she's probably not going to. And then there was another person from Tucson, but I'm guessing, Pat, you jumped in her place. Angela? Is Angela from Tucson? Okay. It must be maybe it's the old Zoom account name or something when you registered originally.
Okay. So, Pat, I'm not new to the industry, but I'm relatively new to the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. When I say relatively, now it's just 3.5 years, but it seems like it's so fresh and new because every day is different. I'm not sure the size and scope of your operation, but the commitment, one of the first things when I sat with the vicar as to, as we define this role, how would you prioritize the three most important things that you would want me to focus on? As a leader of the cemetery mortuary division, and he was very, very specific. One was to bridge the gap between Catholic cemeteries and mortuaries of the Archdiocese of Los Angeles and the other ministry. Right, there was at the time I entered 3.5 years ago, there was this kind of cavernous gap between. Not everybody knew who Catholic cemeteries was. They didn't know that we even had mortuaries in some cases. Just that bringing that union together. So that was the first priority. Second priority was to help the culture within the Catholic cemeteries and mortuaries division become more cohesive. Just to be a little history. About 2 years before I jumped on, the mortuary division was subcontracted to a corporate entity. That didn't end well. They left, and then Catholic cemeteries had to pick up the pieces of the mortuary division. They didn't get another third party or another consolidator to run the mortuary side of the business. So they shut off from the corporate entity and went right into their own operation of mortuaries. So it was a massive undertaking. But there was also a cavernous gap between cemeteries and mortuaries because there was this corporate entity on the mortuary side and the faith-based organization on the cemetery side. All the mortuaries are on the cemetery ground. So there was this, even though we were all the same team, there was Catholic cemeteries and Catholic mortuaries. So that cohesiveness and the cross-functional responsibilities and bringing them together as not just Catholic mortuaries or Catholic cemeteries, but I call them CCNM. We're all together. It's All Souls Cemetery and Mortuary. We're together. So that was a big challenge. And then the final thing was to compete. Catholic cemeteries and mortuaries need to compete with the corporate world. We got to be, our market share needs to increase. The actual the aesthetic look of the mortuaries and the cemeteries has to be competitive with the forest lawns and the SCIs and the like. So those were the three challenges that he put out in front of me, and we're still attacking each and every one of them every day, because you'll never, in my vision, you're never going to get. There's never a finish line. It's not a destination. It's not a final destination. It's a journey. You've heard that phrase 1,000 times, but it's so true. So, just if I can give you some advice, I know you're brand new, and I know it's 18 days, and you are literally and figuratively putting out fires. Set priorities, not many, just a few. Those three. Figure out what those two or three are. Address them in order of a priority and importance. Make sure you have A responsibilities. You focus on every day. If you get to the B's on any day, great. And you have C priorities, even God bless you. If you can get a day where you can get to a C priority, you're well ahead of the game. But focus on the A priorities, have some B's, a few C's, and then as you surround yourself with like people who have the same vision, and your communication to all those people needs to be the same. This is what we're focusing on. Culture today, culture every day. This is what we're focusing on. This. So it allows for that messaging to be consistent each and every day. And when it comes from you as the leader, it cascades out and down, and that particular message will be consistent. There'll be buy-in. Some people will buy in at different levels. Some won't buy in at all, and you'll know who they are. Okay, and that'll maybe make your job even easier. Because not everybody buys in at the same level. So those are the three things that we continue to focus on every single day at Catholic cemeteries and mortuaries of Los Angeles, every single day. But to be better in those three areas, those are our A priorities. Everything else kind of falls in line behind that. So I hate to ramble and preach, but I found that when you have 500 people, I have 500 people that report to me. Okay, we're 11 cemeteries, 6 mortuaries. You can't focus on everything. You have to focus on the A priorities. So just a little advice. Hopefully that gives you some sense of organization and a little bit of insight into what has been successful here. So
yeah, no, thanks very much. I definitely will be calling on you all.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of support in this organization, Pat, truly. So feel free to email, pick up a phone.
Yeah, no, thanks, Monica. I just sent Heather an email, and it also included a link to OneDrive. So Heather, take a look at that, and if there's anything more that you think I can be doing, but you might want to share that with the group, because then you'll see, to your point, my top of mind issue. So just real quick, about 8 months ago, they let the executive director go. And if you know anything about a military term, cluster, I'm not going to tell you what it means, but it's been a cluster here. Thank God for Mike Merrim, who was the interim director. He's a civil engineer, came out of retirement after 12 years and did a phenom job on all the infrastructure that had never been addressed for the last 15, 20 years. They just kicked the can down the road. And really, this is where you saw the Holy Spirit work, because his strengths were all out there. And then my strengths are all in here. My strengths are people, process, technology. So I was in the business world for 30 years and 26 years in the selling profession, and the last 7 years in the software world and SaaS. I really do understand a ridiculously fast pace and managing global teams and all that fun stuff in the software as a service. And I've done, Monica, my Silicon Valley startup, commuting to San Francisco from Denver. So love San Francisco. Doug, I grew up for a while in La La Land. So anyway, the reason I'm sharing this with you is so you have context when probably Heather forwards my email to you, because basically when Mike took over, the entire house was on fire, and I'm not being sensational, okay? Now we've got it down to 2, maybe 3 rooms are on fire. And so those rooms are all HR. So people, process, technology. I mean, I'm day 18 and we're launching Plotbox. You know, we're moving from Nexus to Plotbox. Hey, let's, you know, so we're literally in our infancy with regards to digital literacy here, but that's changing pretty fast. And then the last thing I'll share with you, in my 26-year profession, I've never heard or seen this happen, but when Mike took over, because the whole house was on fire, he just made some decisions and they gutted all commission and bonus from the people here. So we had 2 really good people leave. I've been trying to keep the people here to stay, but I plan on rolling out an entire new comp plan with commission and bonus in January. And so I could really use your help, because I've never heard of gutting a commission plan for salespeople. There's been no motivation, no incentive since June of this year. And so I could use your help. I'm happy to set individual time with you and set up a folder for you in OneDrive, so you can just do a data dump. That's really where I'm really in need of help, and it is a genuine turnaround situation here. So, and you know, I love it. I feel very blessed to be here, by the way. And we will be focusing on ministry. I've just secured a chaplain for the ministry. He'll come once a month to say mass just for the people here. So I'm focused on right now the fires in the house. So I'm really working predominantly on the business side of the ministry, but simultaneously, but not as much time on the, you know, actual ministry side. But I'm not worried about that. It'll come.
That sounds like a sound strategy. I agree with what you shared. Okay. Any other thoughts, Pat? I mean, or anybody? I know many of us have been on for an hour and almost an hour and a half.
The last thing I'll say is thank you very much for the warm welcome. Monica, like I said on this, Thomas Merton said, "No man's an island." And today, right now, I don't feel like I'm on an island.
Not at all. But, not at all. We got you.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you in January. Heather, just to let you know, when I signed up, all the rooms have been taken on that block. So to me, that was okay. This is an event people are attending. So FYI.
Well, that's good to know. I will reach out to the hotel and ask if we can add a few more. I did not, they're supposed to tell me when that happens. So I will ask them.
Did you get at least 3 more? Because we have not figured out
yeah,
who's coming in early and not. So we didn't, yes, please.
And I'm going to guess Jimmy hasn't booked yet.
I know we have a large contingent coming. That may be part of the reason I don't know the answer to that, but
yeah, I will email the hotel today and see if I can add some more rooms to the block, and I'll let you know, Pat, so that way you can still get on a rate. So
okay. Any other housekeeping items, Heather?
No, I don't think so. I did get your email, Pat. I will forward that to the board and some other members. And yeah, just thank you everybody for attending. I thought that today was another good roundtable discussion. So
excellent. Thank you.